For some reason, studios have decided to make movies that turn their iconic villains into anti-heroes, and I am getting sick of it. I don't know if they're trying to make them seem misunderstood, make you feel sorry for them, justify their actions, or what. But over the past decade, they have seemed determined to prove that their villains are really anti-heroes who just do bad things because, I don't know, they have no choice. And of course, this trend started with Disney. In 2014, Disney released Maleficent, a movie based on the villain of Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent, who is a fairy who places a curse on a baby to prick her finger on a sewing needle by the time she's 16 and die from it, just because she wasn't invited to her birth party, and laughs about it.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die.
So the king and queen have to ban sewing machines and have the good fairies hide their daughter away until she turns 16. So Maleficent spends the next 16 years looking for her, and when she finds her, she uses her sewing needle curse to try to kill her and again laughs about it.
Touch the spindle. Touch it, I say. Well, here's your precious princess.
She even goes as far as kidnapping the prince to hold him hostage until he's old to ensure Sleeping Beauty never wakes up. And when he escapes, she gets pissed and turns into a dragon in an attempt to kill him. The movie makes it very clear that she is evil and a villain. This isn't some mistake she made out of anger or something she regretted doing. She follows this plan from start to finish and revels in the misery it causes everyone around her. But in Maleficent, the curse becomes something she made out of anger and something she regretted doing. Disney spends the entire movie claiming what happened in Sleeping Beauty was told wrong. Because in Maleficent, Maleficent was the guardian of the magical kingdom and was friends with the three fairies and everyone loved her, and she fell in love with a boy named Stefan who betrayed her by cutting off her wings in order to become king. So everyone started being scared of her because she was upset about it, and that's why she cursed Aurora. Not because she's evil, but because she was angry about Stefan's betrayal. He's the real villain here, not Maleficent, even though her name literally means working or productive of harm or evil. She didn't even cast a death curse.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she will prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and fall into a sleep like death.
The princess can be woken from her death sleep, but only by true love's kiss.
Because that would make her a villain. Oh, and the three fairies who raised Aurora, they didn't care about her. In fact, Aurora would have died with them. Maleficent secretly took care of Aurora, saved her life once, and became a symbolic mother for her. Aurora even calls her godmother.
I'm almost 16, godmother.
What the hell, Disney? Also, the curse didn't come into fruition because Maleficent tricked Aurora. It happened because Aurora went back to the castle too early, and King Stefan was a dipshit and kept all the destroyed sewing machines in the dungeon instead of getting rid of them. And Maleficent was really sad about it. See, she was laughing out of sadness when Aurora died, figuratively. Also, the true love's kiss, the entire point of the movie, wasn't the prince. That would be stupid. It was Maleficent giving her a kiss on the forehead because she was so sad about it. And King Stefan was the one attacking people because he's the real villain. He doesn't even care that his daughter is alive because he's an asshole. And at the end, they literally call Maleficent a hero.
In the end, my kingdom was united not by a hero or a villain, but by one who was both hero and villain.
Oh yes, the fairy who put a curse on a baby laughed about it, spent 16 years looking for the child, ensured her curse came to fruition, laughed about it, kidnapped the one person who could break the curse, held him hostage, and tried to kill him when he escaped.
Thinking you could defeat me, the mistress of all evil. Now shall you deal with me, O Prince, and all the powers of hell!
What a poor, misunderstood, and caring person. What the hell, Disney? But this isn't the only villain Disney has done this with. In 2021, Disney released Koella, a movie based on the villain from 101 Dalmatians. For those who don't know, Cruella de Vil is a character who is hated by many because she is obsessed with furs to the point to where she collects them from endangered animals. In the live-action version, she goes as far as hiring someone to kill a Siberian tiger in a zoo just so she can wear its fur around her house. And in both the animated and the live-action version, she has two henchmen named Jasper and Horace who she treats like crap constantly.
Jasper, you idiot! How dare you call here?
Oh, well, what a beautiful day, ma'am. The laughter of school children riding on gentle breezes.
Get on with it, you imbecile!
Now listen, you idiots!
Good evening, madam.
Out of my way!
We're giving up.
Oh, no, you don't! We'll find the little mongrels if it takes till next Christmas! Now get going!
I sincerely hope I have not disturbed your relaxation. But I have some good news.
Did you get the puppies?
Affirmative.
My faith in your limited intelligence is momentarily restored.
You idiots! You fools!
Congratulations. You've just won gold, silver, and bronze in the Morons Olympics.
Oh, and if that's not bad enough, you know how sometimes when describing how evil someone is, people say something like they probably kill puppies? Well, Cruella de Vil literally wants to kill puppies and make a coat out of their fur. She has her two henchmen, who she treats like crap, steal Dalmatian puppies from all over the town with the intent to kill and skin them just because she likes the look of their spots. In the live action, she decides she wants puppies instead of adults because her employee, Anita, says their fur is softer.
Coarse or fine? I'm afraid it is a little coarse. Pity. But it was very fine when she was a puppy.
But not for the purpose of making a coat. In fact, when Anita and her husband Roger's Dalmatians have puppies, Koella immediately wants to buy them, but gets upset because they don't have spots.
How marvelous! How perfectly! Oh, the devil take it, they're mongrels! No spots!
How perfect. Oh, the devil take it. They're mongrels. No spots.
Then gets pissed that Roger and Anita don't want to sell them to her, so she fires Anita over it and sends Jasper and Horace to steal them. And once she gets enough puppies, she tells Jasper and Horace to kill the puppies in any way they can.
I want the job done tonight. Any way you like, poison them, drown them, bash them in the head. You got any chloroform?
I want the job done tonight. Any way you want. Poison them, drown them, bash them on the head. Got any chloroform?
Wanna know why? Because she's a villain! The creators meant for her to be an evil villain, not some poor misunderstood person who you just don't understand. But yet Disney decided to make a movie about her to show she's some poor misunderstood person who you just don't understand. The basic premise of Cruella is as a young girl, her real name was Estella, and Cruella was an alternate personality for her. And one night, Cruella's mom goes to ask the Baroness for help, but the Baroness's Dalmatians push her off a cliff and she dies. So Cruella lives on the street until she comes across Jasper and Horace. You know, the two she constantly treats like crap, and lives with them for like 10 years.
You could even say we'd made a home for ourselves. We were like a family.
Horace, let's go.
Yeah, guys, she doesn't treat them like crap because she's mean. She treats them like crap because they're family. Oh, and Anita, the one she fired for not selling her dogs and then stole them, she was her best friend in grade school. She defended her all the time. And Cruella doesn't hate dogs, she loves dogs. In fact, she has a dog companion. Cruella loves animals. She just makes fur out of them out of love. See, she's not an evil villain, she's just a misunderstood anti-hero. You just don't understand. F off, Disney. In case you haven't noticed, I hate this movie. Maybe I'll make a sarcastic rundown of it if I ever want to torture myself. Anyway, Estella gets a job working for the Baroness and gets revenge by upstaging her as Cruella, because that's not really her, it's just some alternate personality or something, and eventually destroys her business. But it turns out the Baroness is really her mom and wanted to kill her as a baby, but some maid took her instead. So in the end, Cruella gets all the Baroness's possessions, and that's how she forms her business. But the entire movie wastes time with this fashion crap and never even addresses Cruella's obsession with furs. The only time she shows any interest is this brief moment when they are implying that one of Cruella's dresses was made out of the Baroness's Dalmatians.
She killed my dogs and made a coat.
But of course, Disney wasn't about to let that be true, because that would make her a villain. In fact, the movie spends the entire time justifying Koella committing theft, espionage, vandalism, and every other crime she commits because she had childhood trauma. The movie claims the Baroness is the real villain and why Cruella's this way, and even goes as far as making the Dalmatians the villains. And Cruella's the hero at the end for adopting them and sending Roger Pongo and Anita Parita. This is a person who wants to murder puppies and make a coat out of them. Off, Disney. And they're not the only studio who are doing this. In 2015, after the plans for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and the Sinister Six movies fell through, Sony decided it was a good idea to lease Spider-Man out to Disney, who made his first MCU appearance in Captain America: Civil War, which meant Sony couldn't make live-action Spider-Man movies while Disney was using him. So this left Sony with the dilemma of what to do with the characters that they could use, and they decided why not make movies based on the villains of Spider-Man, which they began with the Venom trilogy. Venom is a symbiotic alien that bonds to Peter Parker, but comes to hate him after Peter rejects it due to the increased aggression the symbiote causes its hosts. It then bonds with Eddie Brock, who hates Peter Parker for getting him fired from his journalist job for faking stories. In Spider-Man 3, Eddie literally asked God to kill Peter for him.
I come before you today to ask you for one thing. I want you to kill Peter Parker.
That's insane, but anyway, the combination of both their aggression and hatred make them one of Spider-Man's most dangerous villains. And while it is true he acted as an anti-hero before, it mostly has been to begrudgingly work with Spider-Man to defeat a stronger common enemy, such as Carnage, an offspring of Venom that bonds to a serial killer named Cletus Cassidy. But even still, Venom definitely is a villain. He eats people, at least their brains, and generally doesn't discriminate who his victims are. But without being able to use Spider-Man, Sony had to find some other way of introducing the character. They changed how Eddie and Venom found each other, and they changed Venom's family tree around to make Riot the villain, even though he's supposed to be an offspring of Venom. They could have done that and still made Venom a villain, but instead, Sony completely changed who Venom and Eddie Brock were as people. They made it that Brock was in California because something caused him to get ran out of New York, and he got fired for questioning some billionaire about questionable medical practices. Because he wants to take an unethical businessman down no matter the cost, and Venom's a loser on his home planet who doesn't really want to follow Riot. Eddie and Venom bond because Eddie is trying to save someone and doesn't even like the power Venom gives him. Venom does still eat people, but only bad people.
No, we do not eat policemen!
The deal is you will only ever be allowed to touch, harm, hurt, possibly, very possibly, eat very, very bad people, but never, ever, ever good people.
See guys, he doesn't eat good people because that would make him a villain. They want to save the planet, so they spend the entire trilogy saving the world from various symbiotes. And the whole Carnage thing, Eddie wasn't Cletus's cellmate. Eddie's interviewing him for the FBI, and Venom just happens to leave Carnage behind, which is kind of a bullshit explanation, but it's okay because they stop him. It's not the worst example of making a villain into an anti-hero, but based on what this version is, I don't know why he would have a negative relationship with Spider-Man. Neither of them have met him or feel wronged by him. There was this one scene where Venom expressed interest in Spider-Man from seeing him on TV, but I don't know why. This is a character hell-bent on revenge and only helps others for his own benefit. But this movie was successful, so Sony decided to continue on with this trend. After the success of Venom, Sony moved on with their next movie, Morbius. Michael Morbius is a doctor who, through various means, usually using bats to try to find a cure for his rare blood disease, becomes basically a vampire. Although in the 90s animated series, they put suckers on his hand and had him crave plasma because they couldn't have him biting people or craving blood, which is really funny, but that's beside the point. He likes his power and doesn't want to give it up despite the fact that it causes him to kill people, which makes him a villain. But Sony decided we can't have that and made him want to use his power to help people. See, he can't be a villain. He has a small child as a friend. He doesn't want to drink blood, he just loses control at first. He doesn't even like it because that would make him a villain. He made a replacement for blood he can drink. We even made it blue so it doesn't look like blood, although that was to avoid an R rating, but still, he's not the bad guy here. We made up this character Milo to be the villain. He wants the power and will do anything to get it.
Just give it to me. I need it. I can't live like this any longer. Please.
I can't.
What, so you get to live and I get to die, is that it?
Michael, here's something to keep you going.
He's the villain here, not our anti-hero Morbius. Milo likes killing people, and Morbius stopped him. Oh yes, the guy who drinks people's blood to sustain himself. What a great anti-hero. I don't even know what his motivation against Spider-Man would be, considering he wants to stop drinking blood as much as Spider-Man would want him to stop drinking blood. They did the same thing with Kraven the Hunter also, where he hunts poachers instead of rare animals. Because as I stated with Cruella, killing rare animals and using them as trophies isn't exactly a good trait for a hero. Which again, I don't know why he would be a villain for Spider-Man, other than he's afraid of spiders. At least Warner Brothers kind of knows how to make villain movies. They have made two versions of Suicide Squad, one in 2016 and one in 2021. Which both movies are based on the DC comic about a group of villains who agree to go on a dangerous mission in exchange for a lighter prison sentence. They don't try to show that these are actually good people who were just misunderstood or meant well or want to atone for what they did. They make it pretty clear that these are bad people who only agree to it for selfish reasons.
You know the deal. Successfully complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence.
First, I want out of here. Second, I want full custody of my daughter. Third, y'all gonna pay for my daughter's whole education.
In fact, they get explosives implanted in their head for if they disobey an order. A couple of them do get blown up just to show they're not bluffing. Yeah, they're kind of acting as anti-heroes with the whole saving the world thing, whether from a witch or some weird starfish things. It's all done in kind of a lighthearted and goofy way, but it's not to try to justify the things they did, and they definitely don't care about doing the right thing. In the 2016 version, they are constantly butting heads and threatening the soldiers that are with them. They're not great movies by any means, but they are good examples of making movies about villains while keeping them villains. But there is one excellent example of what making a movie about a villain should be. In 2019, Warner Brothers released Joker, which is a story on the origin of Batman's most notorious villain. Yes, I know, in Folie it shows, for the sake of this video, I'm going to ignore that. It goes through Arthur's entire breakdown from a mentally ill person who loses his support and job and slowly losing his grip on reality as things continue to go wrong in his life, to the point to where he kills 3 people, which causes a rift between the classes in Gotham. Then gets humiliated by a talk show host when he tries to follow his dream of being a comedian, and he plans on ending his life on his show but ends up killing the talk show host instead, which just sends the entire city into chaos. The movie never once tries to justify his actions or make them seem okay. In fact, it makes it very clear that what he is doing is wrong and unacceptable. It might make some people feel sympathetic towards Arthur with the way he's treated, his inability to cope, and that his laugh is the result of his mental illness. And Joaquin Phoenix makes the laugh really disturbing. But it never once tries to convince you that Joker isn't really a villain. You're not supposed to root for Arthur or cheer for his actions or think what Joker does is okay because he had childhood trauma, or think we got the story wrong, Joker's actually a hero. Disney. This is a very dark movie with disturbing content throughout and at times is hard to watch. Arthur is not an anti-hero in any sense of the word. This is very much a movie about a villain that makes him a villain. I'm not saying every villain movie needs to be like this, but this is the best example I can think of that does it right. I'm sure there's other examples of both movies making villains anti-heroes and movies keeping them villains, but I think I've gone on long enough. The point I'm trying to get at is movies about villains shouldn't try to justify their actions or change their character to make them the good guy. But as I've said before, a studio's sole job is to make money, and these anti-hero movies make money if they do them right. But movies where villains stay villains make money also, unless they screw them up later. Not all villain movies need to be dark and depressing like Joker either. The Suicide Squad movies are somewhat lighthearted and fun. Just stop trying to change their character or justify them committing crimes or hurting people because of this reason or another. When people watch a movie about a character, they want to see that character. It'll help them appreciate the movies you make more. And who knows, it might become the next movie to gross $1 billion. So, if you're going to make a movie about a villain, please make them a villain.
If you want to see an uncensored version of this video, or any of my other videos, check out my Patreon. If not, I appreciate you watching my video here too. Don't forget to do the YouTube stuff, and thanks for watching.